So yesterday I asked for your opinion on Abdullah Sima. Well, not particularly your opinion, but the opinion of some of the Czech fans, and particular, I think, the Slavia Prague fans, who've taken West Ham to their bosom, let's say, since Souček and Soufal have joined. You probably notice in the chat, there's always a few Czech fans in there. And I was just really interested on their perspective about Sima. And it does seem, by and large, just from reading the comments, so it's yesterday's video with myself and Gio, go and have a look. The comments do seem to suggest that he's not ready for the Premier League. The comments seem to indicate that Hložek is the better option, as I suspected. And I think it sort of got me worried a little bit. I mean, there was one comment in there, somebody, and thanks for leaving them, by the way. Somebody said he's just not ready for the Premier League, and that seemed to be a bit of a theme. And also you start to look at the other teams that are in for him as well, which is Crystal Palace and Newcastle, and you think, well, hold on a second, do we really want to be going for this guy? So I do think it is very, very interesting. I do also wonder, a couple of people made the point in the chat that that maybe it was just the agent trying to talk up the fee or get interest from elsewhere. I don't know. I do think it's... I'm not sure. I'm unconvinced. I think there are worse players we could get, absolutely. But if you get this player, as we discussed, he has to be for the striker. What you don't do is get this as a Yarmolenko replacement, because we're not going to get any money for Yarmolenko. We'll just, if we're lucky, offset the last year of his wages. And you certainly don't spend 25 million quid on an understudy for Bowen. Qualification for Europe's going to throw up some different permutations, but we'll deal with that in other videos. There was something, and you'll have to excuse me because it's meagre pickings today in terms of West Ham news. And so I want to talk about it because I do think it actually impacts West Ham twofold. And what I'm talking about here is the Harry Kane transfer request. It's not even really a transfer request. Press announcement. It's just weird what he's done there. Now, I've got no love for Tottenham at all. In fact, I've got no love for Tottenham, and I quite like Harry Kane because of what he's done for England. But I do feel that there's... Maybe I'm clutching at straws. Straws? I'm clutching at straws, whatever they are. I'm clutching at a few straws here. And I'm thinking... well, how maybe this slightly benefits West Ham, or certainly impacts West Ham. On one facet, I think it benefits West Ham. On another, I feel it might hinder us somewhat. I mean, this is just a massive distraction for them. So they've got 2 games left, which is Leicester and Aston Villa. There's no doubt about it. He's the club captain. He is going to be a player that all the other people in the squads are going to look up to. There's no way that him announcing that he wants to leave can't impact the club, just the general mood of the club, which you've got to remember was low anyway because of this whole thing with the European Super League and whatnot. The fans weren't happy anyway. Daniel Levy was a naughty boy, and this puts massive pressure on Levy, by the way, who just seems to lurch from one disaster to another, furloughing the staff, and again, oh, whoops, sorry, I shouldn't have furloughed the staff, taking a big government loan, and then, of course, the European Super League, and then saying, oh, sorry, no, I didn't really mean to do that. That was Manchester United and Liverpool's fault, the owners. So, as one PR disaster to another. And this is going to put more pressure on Levy because the fans will say, well, you've not been able, during your stewardship of the club, you've not taken us to where we want to go. But it's not that, actually. It's Kane himself. What a weird thing to do. I mean, it's a really weird thing to do. Why not just wait a week? I know he said he wants to get the transfer done before the Euros, but his people can talk to their people. I'm talking about Manchester United and Liverpool, or sorry, not Liverpool, Manchester United, City and Chelsea are the clubs rumoured to be interested in him. He said he wants to stay in the Premier League. His agent can still speak to those clubs. Why make it public in the press? You've got to imagine he's got advisors. In fact, I think one of his advisors is his brother. I don't think it's quite a Daniel and Marko Arnautovic situation there. But it is a complete hindrance to Tottenham, and therein comes the benefit for us, because it's a massive distraction. And looking at it here, we're both on 59 points. They have a far superior goal difference. We've got to do our part of the bargain. We absolutely have to get the 6 points. Get the 3 points against West Brom, which I don't think is going to be easy. We'll be discussing that in the review. And get the 3 points against Southampton, which again, I don't think is going to be easy. They've just started. It's just typical. They're just starting to come into form now, Southampton. So that's not ideal. That's far from ideal. We have to do our bit. If we do our bit, and this is clutching at straws, you've got to hope Tottenham don't win their last 2 games. Now, I don't think they were particularly winnable games anyway. I think the Aston Villa one was. Leicester was always going to be tricky. But now with the resurgence of Liverpool, I'm looking at the league table just now. Leicester 66 points, Chelsea 64, Liverpool 63. 3 into 2 don't go, as the Meatloaf song goes. That's 2 out of 3 ain't bad, really. Leicester are going to be not that confident. Leicester are going to be worried. Leicester are going to be playing hard in that last game against Tottenham. And a Tottenham that are uncertain of their future. Because how's this impact with Harry Kane? How's that impact the other really, I was going to say the other really good players? Who are they? Oh, of course, Son. Bale's off anyway. In fact, I hadn't even thought of that. So Gareth Bale, who's been in some good form for him, Gareth Bale's leaving. Harry Kane's leaving. What are these other guys going to be thinking? Are they going to think if we want to stick around? Possibly not. I'm just saying it's not the ideal preparation for Tottenham to go into their last 2 games. So Harry Kane makes these, as I say, I don't really care. I just found it an interesting dynamic. Harry Kane makes these comments, I'll always love Tottenham. And, well, mate, you know, you've really sort of stitched them up there. And I really love the fans. Well, you sort of stitched them up as well. Because if you wanted to ensure that you left Tottenham on good terms, leave them with European football. And there's no way he wouldn't have known that would have scuppered it. They might go on and win their last 2 games. It might be irrelevant because we might not win both of ours. But I just think it's an extra dynamic that's probably quite good news for West Ham and not particularly needed for Tottenham at the moment. The other thing where I feel it may impact West Ham is Tottenham's search for a striker. Now, Levy's going to play hardball on here. He always does. In excess of 120 million. I can't really see them getting it. So Man United were rumoured to be wanting to spend 100 million on Jadon Sancho. Well, that's not bad money because Sancho's young. What's he, 22, something like that? You've got to imagine and hope that the economy, all economies will recover anyway. So in 2 or 3 years, player values will be probably back to what they were. It's disgusting money, it really is, but they'll be back to what they were. So actually that money on Sancho, well, that's fine. Harry Kane in 3 years is 30. You're not getting £120 million back. In fact, you've actually got to write that off because I think if you're looking to buy Harry Kane, you've got to think, well, we're probably not going to sell him. He's probably going to stay here until he's 32 or 33. You're probably give him a 5-6 year contract. So you've got to factor that into his wages. A lot of money, and Daniel Levy's just not going to get in excess of 120 million. But anyway, let's say they do. Let's say he gets what he wants. They're then in the market for a new striker. Now, I mentioned on the video yesterday with Gio, these strikers, what is that? These top level, I think it's just a bit of fluff, a bit of random flying fluff. The flying fluff. The strikers, I said, Mbappe, Erling Haaland, Lewandowski. World-class strikers. The type of striker that other clubs are going to covet. Now, I said there was a sort of underclass of striker. Now, when I made that list, I'd forgotten about Harry Kane. Harry Kane is very much in that bracket. Harry Kane has won a Golden Boot at World Cup. A good striker. People will put him in the world-class bracket. He's won Golden Boots, Premier League. One of the best strikers in the world, certainly. But what that means is Tottenham are not going to go and buy Erling Haaland or Mbappe or anybody like that. They're then going for the next level down, which is exactly, I think, what West Ham are trying to do, which puts them right in the mix for players like Youssef En-Nesyri. So I think in that situation, you could reel off the targets, but basically Tottenham are in the market for a striker and they will have the money to blow anybody else out the water. All the other clubs will know that. If everybody knows that they've had £120 for Harry Kane, 120 million for Harry Kane, then certainly the price of whatever striker they're looking to sell will go up by you know, 10, 15, 20 million. Not my problem. I'm just saying it might impact us in the transfer market. It may well impact us positively in the league. Interesting story. Not an awful lot else to talk about. Hopefully some news comes out between today and tomorrow. I'll catch up with you very soon.